do you expect to get from this bus ride today?
Well, I expect to get from point A to point B. And, I think it's a great way for, transport. And it's a cheap way as well. So, I'm pretty excited.
Would you ever consider taking public transport more now after this experience?
Well, I guess we'll see about that, Stephanie.
Sounds good. Chloe?
Yeah, in my role at the City of Vernon, I'm helping to coordinate the implementation of Vernon's Climate Action Plan, which includes goals to increase ridership on transit because gas-powered or fossil fuel-powered vehicles are one of our largest sources of greenhouse gas emissions. So the more people we get riding the bus, we can help to lower greenhouse gas emissions in Vernon. Also in my role, I've helped to coordinate some meetings to gather more political support for Transit for Teens. So last summer I helped to coordinate a meeting between the CARE students from 2024 that were doing the Transit for Teens campaign, our local MLA, and the Minister of Environment and Climate Strategy. We came together to talk about Transit for Teens and call to action to those political leaders to support that campaign.
Well, Transit for Teens is practically a BC-wide campaign that advocates for the extension of free bus fares from ages, which is now 12 and under, to 18 and under. And so as Transit for Teens Vernon, we're kind of a local campaign that advocates on behalf of this.
What inspired you to create Transit for Teens?
So Transit for Teens actually came from last year when we partook in the CARE program. So it's the Climate Action Ripple Effect, and it helps students just like us get involved in climate action in the community, but also in schools. So at the time, we went to the transportation booth, and that's where we met our mentor, Dr. Mary Stockdale, and she was actually the one who brought up the idea of the provincial Transit for Teens, and that maybe for our campaign that we could join this advocacy in a local way.
That we are trying to help promote that once it's accessible, once it goes through, that it's an easy way for kids to go on the bus. Do you agree with that? Or what's your opinion on taking the bus and being independent away from your family?
Well, free transit would promote independence for teenagers, and it's simply like freedom of mobility. And we've also gathered from our project research that this free transit program would allow us to more likely continue using public transit even after high school. And so it's a benefit for our community as a whole.
What else can young people do to fight against climate change?
Something else youth and anybody in Vernon can do to fight climate change is think about what you buy and how you spend your money. We're all purchasing products almost every day, and if you are strategic about what you buy, you can also help reduce emissions. Every product you buy has a carbon footprint attached to that. There's emissions generated when you produce any product. So it's ideal to think about buying local. So products that are made or grown here in Vernon have a smaller transportation carbon footprint, for example. You can look for organic products that use less chemicals when they're growing, so that also has a benefit to the planet. You can look for items that are made of eco-friendly materials like recycled plastics or compostable plastics. And also another thing to think about when you're buying products is the packaging that comes in it. If there's a lot of excess packaging, that becomes waste in the end. So if you can find products that have no packaging or little packaging, I think is relatively simple things, but things that actually we do every day, right? So that I think is a key thing to think about in order to reduce our impacts on the environment.
How was your first time taking public transport?
I think it was pretty good. There was nothing in the way. It was a pretty easy, transport.
Okay.
And now we're all the way downtown, so
Yeah.
it was great.
Pretty fun,
It was
right?
awesome. I would totally do it again if I had no other way to get myself place to place, but yeah, it was a great experience.
Would you consider taking it even if you did have another way of transport, like a car?
Yeah, honestly, it's less money than putting gas in a car.
It's very true.
So
Saves the environment more than putting gas in a car as well.
that's true. So I think I would.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you,
Yes.
Chloe.
Thank you.